Now, about a week ago to the day, I was lucky enough to have Adam, the software developer for DR Sim Manager from Departed Reality, do a remote session to me while I was in Microsoft Flight Simulator in the Kitfox, and we did a live tuning session. Now, it was such a really cool catch-up. It was really cool to meet Adam, talk about 6DOF systems and software and all that cool stuff, but to actually understand all the parameters within the software and do a really deep dive so I could have a better understanding and share that with you, my audience. So today's video is going to be a tuning session on how to get the most out of a default profile. It will be specific to the Kitfox in Microsoft Flight Simulator, but this will correlate across all those other types of games. It doesn't matter if it's driving, it doesn't matter if it's flying or fast jets. The basics and the fundamentals are the same in understanding what those axes, what those parameters do, what the gain settings are, and how to get the most out of your profiles and give you confidence to start tuning and creating your own custom profiles. Now, I will be putting this profile in the profile section on the Discord for Departed Reality, so links will be in the description. Please, I encourage you, get onto the Discord. It's a really active community. Adam's really active on there too, and he's open to making adjustments and updates if it's something that enough people are asking for and it's relevant to what we're trying to achieve. Now, something else that's really cool when it comes to flying in sim is Say Intentions AI ATC. Man, this software is incredible. If you haven't heard of it, well, you have today. It's air traffic control using AI to basically give you that sense of realism. Not only can it hold your hand, there's elements that you can switch on so that it'll inject the radio frequencies into your radio. It will also give you what channel you're meant to be on. Plus, it's also going to help transcribe the communications that have been happening with ATC and what you've been saying, so you can reflect back over that if you forget. Now, of course, if you're a more experienced pilot or VR pilot, you can turn those trainer wheels off and it won't hold your hand or give you any of those radio frequencies. But for me, still learning how to fly and sometimes being a bit overwhelmed, I find it really helpful. There's a couple of different licensing tiers as well. There's a free version. There's a 24-hour trial of the full bells and whistles premium version. So they've got something for everyone. Say Intentions AI ATC, I never fly without it. This software is absolutely amazing. But let's get into this video. This should be a really good one. I'm going to give you a deeper dive into the settings, how to tune everything. If you want to have a good generalized overview, I've got another video on that I'll actually link up the top here to DR Sim Manager that I did previously. But for this one, this will be how to tune, how to get it working, and then sharing my profile with you. Let's get into the video. You know the drill, like and subscribe, share these videos with all your friends. I've got flying shirts on the channel, so if you want to support me, jump on there, and there'll be a link to purchase the DR Sim Manager software, or even get a trial of it if you like, from the Windows store in the description. All right, here we are. So Metacane Airstrip, this is where we're taking off from, and man, this is crazy. We pretty much take off straight into a valley and it's just wild. But it's Southern Africa, and the little township is Los Sethol, I think I'm saying that correctly. But this is one of the coolest places I find for takeoffs from a bush plane. It is just crazy, but a really good spot too for us to test two things. One, we can drive around this little airfield because it's quite undulated and there's bumps and mounds. Really gives you a good feeling in the motion rig for tuning when it comes to the ground feeling. But then very quickly we can be in the air by just dropping off into this ravine and have a little fly around. So let's jump into the game, fire up DR Sim Manager, and we're going to show you some of the really new cool features that are in the latest versions of DR Sim Manager. Have a look at this. Now, the first thing that caught my eye a few weeks ago was Space Monkey. I've done plenty of videos on Space Monkey. If you've not seen those, get on the channel, do a search. It's just awesome. And what Space Monkey is some software that lets us get telemetry out of games that don't normally natively interface with software like DR Sim Manager or other software that's out there. So we've got Space Monkey for flight, Space Monkey for ground. I'll be doing follow-up videos showing you how all that stuff works. But today's video is on Microsoft Flight Simulator. And look, this will work what I'm showing today for 2020 and also 2024, of course. Let's have a quick look at the tuning for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. If we navigate up to the profile editor, we can scroll down until we get to Flight Sim 2024. Now, if yours isn't expanded, you'll just need to click on the little arrow there. And we've got default profiles, these global profiles. So what I recommend you do is use these as sort of your blueprint, but don't edit these profiles, duplicate it. So you can see I've already got a Kitfox here. I've even got one for driving. So I reckon the Crosskart with DR Sim Manager in Flight Sim is one of the coolest things ever. It's so damn realistic. But what we'll do is select General Aviation. And before you do anything, my recommendation is to click duplicate and then name that. So let's name that today, and we'll call that Kitfox Kitfox tuning. Kitfox tuning. There we go, and we'll click OK to that, and we can choose its destination. So in this case, we're going to want to put that into Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and we can click OK. And then we will see that we now have a new Kitfox tuning that's been plopped in there. Now, the benefit to that is that you've always got your blueprint to go back to for tuning other airframes or tweaking anything. Now, there is a way that you can actually reset the defaults, but you need to, it's a bit of a manual step. You need to go into DR Sim Manager's software, find the app, change the JSON file, and then that will reset it. But I think if you just, rule of thumb, remember, use these as your blueprint or your vanilla, and then duplicate first, tune from there, you'll be golden. If anyone gets stuck though, and you're unsure on how to reset your profile, let me know. Put it in the comments, and I'll step you through some instructions, or jump on the Discord. It's a really active community. Adam will be quick to jump in there and help as well. So yeah, tons and tons of really good information and a really good community at large. So let's now go to our Kitfox tuning, and we can see this is our baseline to play with. Now, sway, surge, heave, all the axis are enabled straight out of the box. And unlike software like SRS Studio, for instance, they were really critical that if you didn't have a surge axis, or you didn't have sway, or yaw really, or I guess, you know, that's really like traction loss axis, that you had to be really careful and turn those parameters down, otherwise it could get quite violent. That is not the case with DR Sim Manager at all. Out of the box, leave all of those enabled, even if you do not have a surge axis or a yaw axis, it does not matter, and we'll deep dive into that in a second. So let's now enable motion and start tuning. We'll start motion. Okay, and the rig's lifting up. All right, we're starting to rock backwards. Okay, so, I think we're active pause. Yes, we are. Now, already, you can probably see that out of the box, the default tune is, it's started us, right? It's got us there, but it is just too violent, too jerky, and I'm putting some rudder inputs in now, and left and right rudder, and it's really, you know, sort of swaying me left and right way too aggressively. And if we go down this little decline here, you'll see that we are really starting to jump and bounce all over the place. So whoa, that is just, oh man, that is not realistic. So we've stalled the aircraft there, but let's get the brake on. We'll active pause, and I think we need to make some adjustments here. So let's jump in, and really what we've got going on there is a fair bit of heave. The heave is really quite violent, and that's going to be gain. So we can probably bump heave up to about 80, but we're going to bump the gain back to, I reckon, about 3 might be a good place for us to start. And I also think for roll, lateral acceleration. So that was really what was causing the feeling of when I was pressing on the rudder, the rig was really quite violently getting thrashed from left to right. So if we just turn the gain down on that one there, one of the biggest things that Adam helped me with when we did our live one-on-one training session was really gain. Gain is going to do a lot, and I found that less is more. initially when I was trying to tune profiles, I was really putting quite a lot into gain or taking out a lot. I think you're better off just making fine adjustments here. So we've really gone from 2 down to say 1.3. And just with those small changes, let's see what a difference that has made. So we'll jump straight back in. We'll get this started up. Okay, active pause is off. Let's see what we think. Okay, so I can already feel that rudder is not feeling as violent. Still got a bit of jerky movement going on there. So, oh, yeah, that was quite aggressive. Okay, so why don't we just active pause again? Just level out here. We'll jump back into DR Sim Manager. Let's have a look at what we've got going on with roll there. So we might even just bump roll back a little bit. Bump roll back to say 0.8. We'll bump that lateral acceleration back to 1. Let's have a look at heave again. Okay, washout. Now, washout was a really interesting one, and this makes a really big difference. Let's just hover over the little slider, and we'll always get a dialog box that pops down. In this case, adding washout returns the axis to its neutral position. If we increase that value, it's going to be faster. A lower value is no washout. So I actually think we just need to bring that washout back a little bit. So let's bring the washout back to 40. And I think we see what that feels like there. So we've got no washout on the lateral acceleration for roll. Got any washout for, no, that's all looking good. Okay, so we'll just shrink those back up again. Let's jump back in, active pause off. Wow, what a huge difference that's made. Oh gosh, we got a bit of air there. We went off a bump. But that has made a massive difference. You can see already with heave that we're not really thrashing around as badly as we were. We're going to make our way up this here. And what I'm looking for when I'm tuning is I'm trying to get my motion rig, in regards to my eRacing Labs 3DOF system anyway, I'm trying to get the rig to correlate to what I'm seeing on screen. I want to feel what I'm seeing, if that makes sense. And my gosh, that is actually feeling pretty good. As the picture on screen of the airframe tipped to the left, so did the rig. And I want the movement to be as much as what I'm seeing on screen. I don't want it to be more. In some cases, you might want it to be a little less. Okay, so now let's actually just try and tune the pitch and roll a little more. So we'll just active pause there. Right, so for pitch, we're actually going to bump pitch all the way up to 100%. I want all the pitch that I can get. I also want all the roll that I can get. I want to get as much out of those axis as I can, but I think what's important here is our gain settings. So I'm actually going to bump the gain for pitch back to maybe 0.7, and we might do the same for roll. There we go. Let's just have a quick look at, yeah, we've got no washout there, no washout there. Let's have a feel and see what we think of that. So active pause is off. I actually reckon we can bump that lateral acceleration. I think we can actually bump that down a little bit. Okay, so we've got it down to 0.6, and we might even just adjust the smoothness back a little bit to say 30. So let's now have a look and see what we think of that. Oh, that's heaps better. Okay, so now when I'm inputting rudder movements, we're not getting thrashed from left to right really violently. It's just a nice smooth, I guess, shift in that feeling of G-force being moved around in the cockpit as there's a direction change. So that is a lot smoother with the rudder pedals there. So I'm actually I'm actually liking that. I actually think we might get this in the air and see what it's like now flying. So here we go. Half flaps. And powering on. Okay, and we are in the air. How good does this look? Wow. We got the Tobii eye tracker going. All right, Tobii eye tracker is on. Just zoom in a little bit there. Oh man. Woo. And this is feeling really good in the rig. Oh, this is just beautiful. Flaps up. Just overspeeding a little bit there. Wow, this is feeling really, really good. And so now we'll just do some movements. We'll roll left, we'll roll right. We can actually see the rig correlating quite nicely in regards to what we're seeing on screen there. And that's really what I'm looking for. When I'm tuning, I'm trying to get quite a good visual of what I see on screen to what's happening in the motion rig. Now, it's a little different once you're in virtual reality, but I think as a baseline, I actually prefer to tune on Pancake and then switch to VR and then fine adjust from there. I just find it a lot easier, especially with new software or when I'm learning new things, being able to do it like this just takes a bit of that jank out of it. And wow, even pulling back on the stick, that is just feeling really, really good. Now, we're going to active pause here in the air because there is another setting which we're going to enable, and this will help you understand how to build out your motion profile. So that is feeling really good. Let's active pause and jump back into DR Sim Manager. Now, this is one Adam showed me which absolutely blew my mind, and I'm not kidding. I personally think this is probably the best feeling of engine vibration that I have ever experienced out of any of the motion software, period. Like, it is that good. So we click on the little plus symbol up the top here, add new cue, and we'll go down to engine haptics and we'll click add. Already the rig has started vibrating quite a lot. We're going to want to change that to propeller. So the preset, now we've got that set on propeller. But then the other bit of the puzzle that we want to add is vibrations. So we'll click add, and you'll see that immediately we've got all of the different axes enabled here. Now, this is the point that Adam made, is he actually thinks, and I agree after testing this, that realistically, if you disable all of those axes there, so sway, surge, pitch, roll, and yaw, and just have heave, if you are running an actuator style motion system, man, it is just amazing. Where those other axes are beneficial is, let's say you're running something like a yaw VR, you don't have heave. You've really only got that, yaw, you've got roll, you've got pitch. So in order to try and affect an engine vibration, you need to lean on a different axis. Does that make sense? And less is more here. We don't want all of those different axes to be causing vibration. It's just going to muddy it and give you just too much. So let's just enable heave. Now let's just bump that slider up a little bit. Okay, so let's go 2 on the slider, and we'll take active pause off. And that vibration is just really, really fine at the moment. So I'm feeling a change in vibration when I decelerate and accelerate. So we're just going to active pause there. We'll jump back across. And I reckon we lean on that a bit more. We might go, let's take it to 5. Jump back in. Active pause is off. And I'm just getting the most, it's impossible for me to show this on camera, but I'm getting the most precise vibration through what feels like the airframe, through the rig, being generated by my 4 actuators here. And I've got no butt kickers turned on, no haptics, for my video today so that we can just get the full experience out of what DR Sim Manager can do. And I've got to be honest, if you've got no butt kickers or haptics, wow, I can't believe how well DR Sim Manager is actually giving you those effects. And so when I back off the throttle, I'm actually feeling the rig oscillating a little bit more aggressively, as you would expect when the RPM has dropped and the vibration isn't as harmonic. That makes sense. Now you probably noticed there when I deaccelerate and accelerate that we're getting quite a large amount of surge. I'm going to tune that out in a minute because I think that's just too much. So let's just active pause again. Okay, now what I think we're going to need to tweak here is some long acceleration, and I reckon we just crank the washout up to 70 and we might back the gain off. Let's back the gain off to maybe 0.8. Let's see what that does to helping mitigate that really quite aggressive feeling of surge. And that's made a massive difference. That's really smoothed it out. So that was the bit of the puzzle we were missing, is it was really that longitudinal acceleration. So let's just jump back and have a look at our settings there. Okay, so yeah, long acceleration, just increasing the smoothness and backing the gain off. That has really started to dial that in. So let's now jump back in. Active pause is off. Now what we've got is the rig is correlating to axis input and it's just feeling beautiful. I mean, look how smooth that is. And if we accelerate, I'm feeling the vibrations smooth out. If I deaccelerate, as that RPM drops, I'm feeling a really nice shudder through the rig. So, gosh, I've got a little bit of turbulent kick there. So this, for me, is, man, this is about 99% there in regards to tuning my profile. I could do some tweaks to just get it a little bit better. And man, it is really good. So again, I'll share my profile with everyone, so it'll be something that you can get. You do need to jump on the Discord to grab it. There's an area in there where we can actually share our profiles, so you'll see one from me there. And this will be a good baseline that you can at least take this tune if you've got an eRacing Labs or any actuator system that's got 150 mil of travel. I think you'll be golden to use my profile straight out of the box. And let's come in for a landing and see what it's like for touchdown. But man, this is feeling really, really good. Wow, it is just rendered so well. Okay, we're coming in. Got to wash off a bit of airspeed here. Might just go full flaps. All right, this will be interesting. Let's see what it's like for a landing. The turbulence though feels really good. Bit of an aggressive angle then. See if we can just float her in. Oh, nice. Oh, bit of a bounce. Oh, and we're down. Wow, and that ground feel is really nice. I'm getting some really good vibrations through the rig. That is, man, that tune is feeling really, really good. Okay, so for this, we're going to want to stop motion. So we'll click the big red button to stop motion. Now we can move to the very top tabs, click on settings, scroll down, and you'll see down the very bottom here, we've got remote control. Now, yours may be unticked if you've not come into here yet. So simply tick that box. And if we look over to the right-hand side to the debug log, we can see that it started this remote control server, and it started it on https://192.168.1.219:8000, so port 8000, and that ending number is the number of this PC. Now, if you want to save this little process as an app on the desktop of your phone, you're going to want to make sure you've got a fixed IP address on your PC, because what we're going to show you is how to actually have control over DR Sim Manager from your mobile phone. Now, there's two options here for modes. We've got HTTPS or HTTP. This is helpful if your version of iOS or Android or browser is just causing conflicts. So if you have any issues trying to connect this, try a different mode, and you can also change the port. If for any reason you've got something else using port 8000, you can change that, and you can actually tick this box, click set to require connection to this for a password. Now, please do not be alarmed. You may get a security warning that it can't validate the site that you're connecting to and proceed at your own risk. This is in your internal network. This is not happening externally. You're not opening a port on your firewall. Trust me, this is totally safe. Nothing is going to happen in your internal network. So I'll untick the box there because I don't need a password, and we've already set that. I've now opened the browser on my phone. I'm going to type in that IP address. So we'll go https://192.168.1.219 port 8000. And if we've done everything properly, oh my goodness. So let's go. And there we go, this is good. So this first message here is the warning message I told you about. So let's go advanced and let's quickly read through it. This could be a problem with the server's configuration, or it could be someone trying to impersonate the server. Again, this is all stuff if you're trying to connect out externally through a web browser to a website and you get this error, I would not proceed. But this is internal, this is connecting to DR SIM Manager, it's inside your network, it's totally safe. So we scroll down and we accept the risk, and hey presto, we are looking at DR SIM Manager as an app. Now watch this, I'm going to click start motion and the rig's lifting up. Isn't this epic? So you can literally be tuning on the fly, no pun intended, without having to pause the game and then, you know, control escape and go to the console. You can pretty much be doing it all from here. So if you got yourself a mobile phone holder or even a tablet, that would do perfectly. You can do all this tuning on the fly. So we can see all of our games listed here. So let's now navigate down to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Let's expand that. And there's my tuning profile. So let's go into the Kitfox tuning. And then if we navigate down to Profile Editor, just expand that. This is now showing us all of the various axes that we can be tuning. And if we click on the name, we can drill down further for that granular control. So we can be affecting smoothness, gain, washout. It is crazy. You can even be turning those axes on or off. So this is just such a cool feature. I am really, really impressed with having this little addition to be able to connect into the app itself and control it. Now, the last thing I want to show you is how to get this profile. If you download it from the Discord, how can you then put it into the game? So one of the things that I find is easier, if we go to Profile Editor, and in this case, it's going to be Microsoft Flight Simulator. So if we just right click on any profile in here, we'll go Fast Jets and we'll go Browse Profiles. This will bring us straight into the root location of where the profiles are sitting, and we can see all of the games here. Now, if we click on the link at the top there so we can actually see where it's residing, it's users, in my case, my user is Command Center, App Data, Local, DR SIM Manager, Profiles. And then if we drill down into the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 profile, we can see the Kitfox tuning and another profile I've got called Kitfox. And then there's the driving profile. I'll put actually both in the Discord. I'll give you the driving profile that I've done and the Kitfox tuning. Now, from here, if we open that up, this is a JSON file. We can actually see it's saved all of the various parameters for that profile. And all you need to do is simply download the JSON file from the Discord and paste it into here, and then fire up DR SIM Manager and you've got that profile. It's that easy to share profiles, download profiles, and basically copy them in where you want them. Hopefully that's helped you understand DR SIM Manager a little better and how to tune your profiles. I'll see you in the next video.